Hello, hello everybody! I'll be right on shortly. Hello, hello everyone! Hi! Hello everyone, I hope everyone is having a good week, or had a good week. I guess it's the weekend now. So for this week we're going to talk about the astrology, we're going to go over the major transits for this week, and talk about the June solstice. I forgot to introduce myself, my name is Mark, Mystical Mark. Welcome to everyone who is just watching this, or anybody who's returning to watching it, thank you very much. Come on in, enjoy. Alright, yeah, so this week we're just going to go over the major trends for the week coming up. Obviously, we have the big summer solstice happening, Sun ingress into Cancer. I do want to apologize, I am feeling very tired today. I feel like this new moon in Gemini squaring Neptune and Pisces, that Pisces energy is coming through. I just really want to sleep, and dreams have been kind of crazy too, so... maybe other people can relate to that. I know it's a lot of with Pisces energy when it comes to, square, especially Gemini, the mind, that kind of thing. Pisces behind the scenes while you're asleep, in your dreams, that kind of stuff can really come to the forefront. Interesting, the dream I had last night was about two people in my life. One was a Pisces, one was a Gemini, so that kind of... it's interesting. Anyway, so yeah, if you see me pausing or needing to stop to just kind of think, to do whatever, it's just because I'm really tired today. And after this, honestly, I'm probably just going to lay on the couch and sleep, eat, watch something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, so yeah, make sure. And obviously last week's video, I went over the new moon that is happening today. But one thing I would like to add, with anytime we have this Pisces energy, to be sure to, it's going to be sleepy, like the Gemini energy can be very quick, wanting to move fast, communicate fast, that kind of thing. Pisces kind of just wants to chill. So it's about kind of balancing that out as well. And I've had a very busy week this week, which kind of explains it's been a bit out of balance for me. And I think especially Neptune and Pisces is really trying to push that. We're also having a thunderstorm outside right now. I don't know if you're able to hear the thunder at all. I kind of have a noise gate on here, so I don't know if you're able to hear the thunder at all. So maybe that's contributing to my mood today, feeling a bit, the rainy weather makes me just want to curl up and sleep too. So anyways, hopefully the stream will be able to continue. I'm sorry if there's any thunder that kind of comes through or anything like that, or if we lose power, or if this kind of automatically video just ends. Well, there you go. It's because of the thunderstorm, not because of me. All right. Okay, I'm just going to move over to my other screen here, and then let's get into the chart starting for Sunday, June 18th. All right, I'm just going to make sure this switches first for everyone. Okay, all right, so on Sunday, so I kind of touched on this a bit for last week's video. So we did have this new moon in Gemini, which was squaring over to Neptune and Pisces. However, the exact square for the Sun and Neptune, just the two, is happening on Sunday the 18th. So again, this is kind of emphasizing Sun in Gemini, Neptune and Pisces. Kind of what I just mentioned. Gemini likes to be very quick. Pisces just wants to chill. This is also your intuition. I was going to say like intuitive mind versus like your logical mind. But Pisces is more like just your intuition in general versus like the mind, logic, communication, that kind of sense. And this can also be forcing to kind of uncover behind the scenes kind of things. Pay attention to your dreams as well. Pay attention to your intuition, because that's going to help you to try to understand a lot of what is going on. And again, we may feel a bit tired as well during this, depending, right? So you want to make sure you have balance and not be so rush through all of that. Also on this day, we're going to have Neptune squared. I mean, the sun is basically in conjunction to Juno, but it's Neptune squared Juno, right? So we're kind of going to have the same similar themes, but regarding partnerships. So this could be, you know, wanting to gain clarity on an aspect of partnerships, we may see something behind the scenes, communication behind the scenes, communication about something behind the scenes, communication in our dreams and our intuition, something regarding types of partnerships. And again, this is like contractual partnerships. This could be marital partnerships, long-term relationships, business contracts and partnerships. So just keep that in mind. This could also be more of a revealing of, like I said, things that are going on behind the scenes. There's kind of more of that I'm going to talk about later in the week with different aspects still. This seems to be like it's a kind of theme. I feel like I'm repeating myself, almost like, am I saying something wrong by constantly saying this? But that's kind of where it's landing at this point, where we're just going to kind of see things are coming out. We're seeing behind the scenes. We're starting to make sense of what has actually been going on behind the scenes. Especially we have Pluto here, retrograded back into Capricorn, now in sextile again here to this Neptune in Pisces. So again, it's this revelation where these Capricornian aspects of control, you know, Pluto might be giving power to it now that it's back in Capricorn, but we're able to see right through it at this point, right? We're going retrograde, this is going over old ground. But with Pluto here, it brings things up to the surface. So yeah, it gives power to the sign that it's in, but Pluto brings things to the surface. It allows you to see it for what it is. So we may see these aspects of control try to come up again, but really it's kind of being revealed. This is sextile to Neptune here in Pisces. It's like behind the scenes kind of stuff. These things are being revealed and we're seeing it almost more and more clearly now, especially with this square to Gemini and all these aspects to Gemini. Things are being communicated and brought and kind of being made sense to the logical mind. The logical mind needs to balance out with this intuitive or this secretive kind of stuff that has been going on. All right, so that's something to really pay attention to. All right, so that's Sunday. That's all right. I'm going to try to quickly move through this week. I don't want these videos to be too long, like I tried to mention before, and then they end up being like an hour. I want to kind of limit it to around, I'd like to be less than an hour, but an hour just over max. Like I don't want to do too much. Okay. So let's move forward to Monday. All right, so on Monday today, we're going to have Jupiter here in Taurus in sextile to Saturn. So Saturn is now retrograde. I talked about this in last week's video, but Saturn is now retrograde in Pisces and went retrograde Saturday morning Mountain Time, which is my time, so you can translate that to whatever time zone you're in. Be morning, the early afternoon Eastern time, earlier morning before mid-morning, if you're on the West Coast. If you're in other parts of the world, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just have to figure that out. I apologize, but I just can't. I can't go over it all here. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, Jupiter here in Taurus, in sextile to Saturn in Pisces. Now that Saturn is retrograde, so again, we're going over old ground, right? And with Saturn retrograde, especially with Pluto being in Saturn's sign of Capricorn, this is going to be a revealing. And then with Pluto like I said, I mentioned that sextile to Neptune, going over old ground here, we're going to start to see things kind of come out even more. Like it's been happening already. I've said it again with these squares as well, but we're going to kind of start to see this. It's kind of seeing through the fog about what's really been happening through these control structures and behind them. This could also be like spiritual control structures such as religion, those types of things. You're going to start to see the truth and what's happening behind the scenes regarding that in a lot of ways as well. And some of that has been, you know, coming out in a sense too. Especially, you know, don't want to be too controversial, but pulling this up regarding the fact that, June is Pride Month, there's a lot of, religious protests saying, you can't be this way or God, whatever, but it's like, really? Like, you just are who you are no matter what that is. And, that's kind of like true spirituality, unconditional love, that kind of thing. And also, it's like really in the fact that religion has a lot of skeletons buried in their closets as well. It's like, and I'm not like, I'm gay, so I'm not saying anything bad towards the LGBTQ community, but they like to call LGBTQ people out, especially now, calling people like groomers and stuff like that, when it's religions that are doing that in a lot of ways. I'm not going to step into more details regarding that, but don't want to cause too much controversy, but let's just say there may be some things that end up becoming more so revealed regarding these aspects of control structures, corporate structures, like I said, religions, businesses, corporations, those kinds of things that want that all-encompassing power and control over the people. Pisces, with Saturn in Pisces, that's a dissolving of that. That's a withering away. And of course, with Saturn in retrograde, it's more inwardly focused, it's not outwardly focused, so it's not powerful in the same sense. And Pluto is also retrograde in Capricorn, so that power is somewhat diminished as well, because you're going over old ground, you're revealing and bringing things up to be like, hey, you missed this the last time I brought it up, is what Pluto's kind of saying. And with Saturn here, it's again going over that space to relook over a lot of these things and aspects of control. And this could be social media control as well, or media control as well. Through this retrograde, we may see things come up around social media bans, like the TikTok bans and things like that have come up. And maybe revelations of behind the scenes aspects of that as well. What's the true intention behind that? Is it really something that's, for the people, or like a national security kind of thing, or is there something else going on here? Because to be brutally honest, all social media tracks you. It's not just TikTok. And I mean, yeah, TikTok is, based in China, but there's all the other social media companies that are based in the US. They track and look at the information in the exact same way. So it's the pot calling the kettle black, really. But whatever, that's just my controversial opinion, I guess. Anyway, so I'm not even really talking about the transit that I meant to talk about. So let's get back on topic here. So Jupiter sextile Saturn. The Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, still kind of conjunct the North Node here. So we're expanding this more like abundant directions. There's an opportunity here, especially in terms of maybe physical places, physical careers. So Saturn is kind of going over old ground in terms of, especially in Pisces, does the reality kind of match the dream? And in sextile to Jupiter here in Taurus, are we feeling good about this? Are we moving forward in the direction we want to move forward? Are we expanding in a more abundant space? And take this time to kind of take a look at the structures in our lives and careers and that kind of thing, and where can we expand? Because we're going over old ground here, right, with Saturn there. So where can we expand Jupiter in Taurus in these places to make us more abundant, to make us feel better? And there will be a revelation of certain things regarding, maybe where we have been and what we can tweak to kind of expand and change that moving forward. To help us, with this Pisces stuff, rest as well. And Pisces here might make us feel better. And, might be releasing some aspects of control and control structures to help to bring us into more of an abundant space and going with the flow more and nurturing and expanding in places of abundance that maybe we didn't realize were already there, right? Because Pisces also this sextile can sort of reveal what could be hidden in that sense as well. All right, let's move on here. The other thing that's peaking on this day, so this is a minor transit. I do go over minor transits. I'm not an expert at minor transits. However, I do talk about these because I find them interesting. I know that a lot of people don't use them for mundane astrology, which is every like day-to-day astrology, but I like to incorporate them because I like to see, they're fun to play with and just see, and they do kind of relate. I've noticed they relate a lot to certain aspects in my life, and they can relate to certain things that are happening. So it's just interesting to touch on. Take it with a grain of salt, take what resonates with you, obviously, but, it's something I think that, maybe we should start paying attention to. So I'm just going to have a look at them. And of course, all of these transits are listed in the description below this video as well. Okay, so we have Mercury in sesquisquare to Pluto. So Mercury in Gemini, sesquisquare to Pluto. So this sesquisquare brings up a frustration, something that, keeps happening that we haven't really quite learned to understand yet. And this is dealing with the mind, communication, our local environment. Pluto here in Capricorn, aspects of power and control. This could be extreme power and control since Pluto is here, but it's going over old ground, going over these old spaces, and may bring about some kind of revelation or some kind of communication could happen, or we may just reveal in our own minds and our own thoughts, really, things that just really are no longer working, and things that maybe we need to talk about more regarding this in order to try to find some kind of resolution, because there is a frustration here. So this could also be, does the communication match what is actually coming up and being revealed, or what we know to be true, right? And there could be a frustration here, realizing that maybe these aspects of control aren't really as transparent as they should be, right? Or they're not communicating as well as they should be, right? Or they're not paying attention to what matters, like the smaller things, the local environment type of things. They're not paying attention to the little guy in a sense, right? They're paying more attention to themselves. And there's a frustration here that's coming up, and we need to recognize this, and maybe it needs to be communicated more in that way as well. We have another sesquisquare happening as well, with Venus in sesquisquare to Neptune. Could be frustrations regarding, especially Venus in Leo, Neptune in Pisces, frustrations around romance. This could be frustrations around what lights us up, like in terms of our heart space, regarding our relationships, our career, our money situation, our material things. Like, are they matching the dream? Are we able to go with the flow? Are we in our heart space matching the dream? There's kind of a frustration here regarding these items that is like, well, are we really in this space? Are we really, I wanted to say appreciating these things for some reason, maybe even appreciating what we have and paying attention to where we're being guided to in terms of these places. There's like a frustration here regarding, this could be regarding creativity as well. Maybe there's certain aspects of like a creative block, you're not feeling as creative, maybe you're not being noticed as a creative, things like that could just be, there's kind of a frustration there that needs to be, noticed and something done about to kind of, push forward. It's something that, it can't be swept under the rug anymore regarding career, money, relationship, those kinds of things. Neptune here in Pisces. This could be also like rose-colored glasses too. Like, are we, with certain retrogrades that are happening, are we looking back with rose-colored glasses? But I really don't think this is going to let us with this sesquisquare. I think it's going to be like, okay, we may have looked back with rose-colored glasses, but now we're seeing the actual frustration and understanding, being like, oh God, no, this is terrible. I remember now, right? Especially, we want to be in our heart space. We want to listen to our intuition, go with the flow. There could be aspects of sensitivities that are involved with this. So just pay attention with that. There's definitely there's a creative frustration, especially since this has to do with the signs of Leo and Pisces. Definitely a creative frustration, and also Venus and Neptune, a creative frustration. And again, this could be a very like romantic and relationship type of frustration. It's something's not matching your heart and your intuition, your dreams, and where you really want to go. Spirit is trying to guiding you to being resonant more into your heart space, and there's frustration that's looking here. It's not as pretty as what things may seem, and it needs to be adjusted in order to, or re-engineered in order to move into a better space. All right, so that's what we've got here for Monday. Let's move on to Tuesday. So Tuesday, so this is the day we're going to have the Sun conjunct Juno. Okay. We have Mars conjunct Black Moon Lilith too. There's something I want to talk to you about that because there's going to be more aspects peeking on that regarding. So we're going to talk about that more probably into Wednesday as well. And that's interesting. That's Wednesday is a solstice and that's happening. Okay. So on this day, so Sun conjunct Juno and Gemini. First thing I kind of want to say is twin flame. Take with that what you will. This is also still in square to Neptune and Pisces. There is a higher spiritual, possibly higher self aspect of this coming through. You don't like the word twin flame, which can be taken in a lot of ways. But we could just say divine counterpart. Whatever, whoever that is. Right? So, Sun conjunct Juno, squaring Neptune here in Pisces. There's, again, this balance of this higher self energy in with this mind energy. So it's like your higher mind and the lower mind kind of coming together in some kind of sense. This is dealing with aspects of partnerships and relationships. Like I said, this could be divine counterpart type of energy that is happening. This could also be more revelations between partnerships. That could be business partnerships, other contractual partnerships, relationship partnerships, that kind of stuff that is coming up with this aspect here happening. So again, this kind of relates to what I said back on Sunday as well. But now it's kind of more really focused on this relationship aspect as this is kind of this exact conjunction with the sun. Yeah. Be a bit more illuminated, or again, sometimes with this conjunction with the sun can be over illuminating. So it may drown out this aspect of partnerships and relationships. And we may see hidden things come out in that regard, or things try to be hidden maybe in that regard. But I think this is more of a revealing than a trying to hide kind of a thing. So I think this is putting more focus on those types of aspects within that. So if you do find yourself as a twin flame or divine counterpart, or that kind of divine type of relationship, really pay attention to your intuition and trying to find balance, or bringing in this higher aspect of yourself. And connecting with the lower aspect of you and your lower mind as well. So it's kind of like existing in a truly multidimensional existence, forcing a balance to this in order to happen in some kind of way, right? So it's almost like it's a spiritual support coming through regarding this. Pay attention to your intuition regarding that, or it's just, it's your higher self kind of, it's balancing out that higher and lower mind. Right, and they are in quincunx to this Jupiter here in Capricorn. So there could be like this aspect of revealing of terms of there's maybe this integration of maybe control we've tried to have over a lot of things in the past that maybe need to be integrated into this and possibly learn to go with the flow a bit more, i.e. letting your higher self in and balancing that out with what your mind, because your mind cannot hold everything that obviously exists in this Neptunian or higher vision reality, or even the Jupiterian one here when we have, Sagittarius opposite the Gemini stuff. Yeah, so that's something that's going on. We are having Mars here conjunct Black Moon Lilith in Leo. There could be some rebel divine feminine energy here, especially I'm just seeing this square building here with Uranus and Taurus as well. So almost like stubborn rebellion, but in feminine. Because Taurus is a feminine sign. Black Moon Lilith, remember the story of Lilith. She was the woman before Eve. She got kicked out of the Garden of Eden because she didn't want to listen to a man. She wanted to be independent. She wanted, equality between masculine and feminine. And so she was kicked out. So it's this very like independent woman, independent feminine type energy, rebellious energy, especially against the patriarchy, that kind of thing. And there's kind of that aspect of rebellion that's coming out, with this Leo energy here, possibly bringing things to the spotlight or being into your heart unconditionally, learning to unconditionally love things, equally in that sense. So it is in trine to Chiron, which is going to peak this week as well as it's sextiling Mercury. So this could be where we've maybe felt outcast and recognize and maybe rebelling with that in a sense, in terms of where we felt outcast or where we felt wounded individually in our own self. But these trines and sextiles are positive, so it's almost like there's an opportunity here to heal or unconditionally love this rebellious aspect of ourselves and recognize that, yes, we can be independent. We can be this type of person. We can recognize this, within us and maybe communicate that a bit more or recognize it at least in our own mind or bring it to the forefront of our mind. There's an opportunity here to bring it to that forefront for some kind of recognition as well. But we may see communication regarding this. We may see people just communicating about the things that have happened, bringing it to light, understanding unconditional love for themselves and their own wounding and bringing it to light, communicating that for a positive resolution. Right? So, yeah, there's a biquintile here to Neptune as well. So there could be something that's been worked on behind the scenes or behind the scenes stuff coming through that's either helping this to happen or this behind the scenes revelation coming through as well with this Mars Black Moon Lilith energy. Because Black Moon Lilith is kind of that rebel. It's like, I know what's going on and I'm not going to take it. I'm going to do what I want for equality and balance. And it's sitting here in this Leo unconditional love type energy, and this Mars, this warrior, is conjuncted. So this is like feminine warrior type energy about our individual wounding and maybe communicating and having love for that and recognizing that and bringing that forward. So just something to take note of as well there. So I think that's all I'm going to kind of touch on for major transits for Tuesday here, sorry. Let's move towards Wednesday. Wednesday, the big day, Sun ingress Cancer. So again, I'm kind of pulling onto this more feminine energy again. Especially now the Sun has moved into Cancer. This is more like the mother energy, divine mother kind of type energy, the queen type energy, right? And so we've got kind of this rebellion stuff happening over here in Leo. So this is going to be kind of like a big... And it's a big shift because this is a seasonal shift, right? We're moving into a new, I want to say astrological quarter because our calendar system is fucked and it does not represent the true cycles of nature, right? So we're moving into a new astrological quarter, a new set of seasons, right? We're going to have summer and then we're going to have summer here. And then after this 3 months, then we move into fall, right? So we want to... This is a new set to the astrological year. So we're moving into the second quarter of the astrological year because the astrological year starts on the Sun ingress into Aries, the spring equinox right here, right? So New Year's isn't actually New Year's, it's just bullshit. But anyway. All right, let's take a look at what's happening today. So before the Sun actually moves into Cancer, it's going to conjunct Juno. Didn't that peak on... What are we talking about here? Tuesday? Wednesday, there we go. I already talked about that. I had it on the wrong day. Sorry, I got my little list of notes here. I'm like, what is going on? Right. So we have the June solstice around 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So again, 8 a.m. Pacific. What is that? 11 a.m. Eastern. It's happening on Wednesday, June 21st. Also on this day, what I was going to say. Focus. Sorry, I'm tired. I just gotta recenter myself again here. Solstice. Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to like just kind of realign. We're shifting into new energy, a new astrological corridor. We're moving into a cardinal sign now. Things might start to move forward here again. We're out of this mutable energy where it's kind of like this transmutation, this ending to bringing to light. What do we want to bring an end to? And now moving forward into a new direction. Which is why, we've kind of had all these mutable squares, especially Gemini, Pisces stuff. What do we want to bring an end to? What needs to be revealed? Because what needs to be revealed to recognize what we need to bring an end to? And a lot of this has been like, the control structures and things like that with Pluto retrograding back into Capricorn and sextiling this Neptune. Right, so I keep reiterating that, but that's a thing. Okay, that's just kind of an ongoing theme. Right, the sun does peak in its quincunx to Pluto as well. So again, this is happening when it was in Gemini. I kind of touched on this already, but there's an integration that needs to happen with the sun now in Cancer. It's in a kind of an integration in what's going to make us feel more comfortable. Do these aspects of control really make us feel comfortable? Are they comfortable? Is our career, like these control aspects, part of our career? Do they make us feel comfortable in our world, at home, those kinds of things? There's an integration here of this revelation that we need to recognize, that we need to integrate to try to move forward, to start to move forward in a more comfortable, more nurturing kind of a space, and less of a draconian, Capricornian control kind of a space, right? So, something to kind of notice here as well. Also peaking on this day is, where are we here? Mercury is in this exact sextile to Black Moon Lilith, and also to Mars, and also to Chiron. So this is what I was mentioning about yesterday. So there's kind of like this exacting with Mercury here. So we had this exact conjunction with Mars on Black Moon Lilith the day prior. So it's kind of like pushing this feminine warrior energy, almost like the start. You're starting the engine to move into this solstice kind of energy, and then bam, Wednesday we're in, right? And with Mercury here, it's just going to be more of a communicative focus or a mind focus on what I mentioned on the previous day, possibly regarding this rebellious energy that's happening. And we do have this square aspect building to Uranus as well in Taurus. So this could be surrounding, stubbornness, not wanting to move forward in a more progressive direction. Also, regarding like money, make things that are making us feel good. Like, are we really feeling good in our reality? These wounds certainly are making us feel good, but we need to talk about them. We need to be the rebel. This is like being the rebel and communicating. This is almost like whistleblower, positive whistleblower type energy though, really. Right, in terms of, certain things. Especially could be regarding around the economy, money, material things too. Uranus, that money involved with technology, even could be alien stuff. There's lots of kind of like alien disclosure things coming up around this time too, which is kind of interesting. And I think we're probably going to see more of that as Pluto starts, because Pluto's kind of hovering around this Aquarius cusp here. But as Pluto moves more into Aquarius, especially nearing the end of next year, we're going to really start to see more, I think, probably like disclosure things and a lot more advances in technologies and things coming out. And very fast progression and movement forward. So I kind of touched on this Mercury and then that sextiling stuff on the previous day. So you're just clicking on the days and watching this, go back to Tuesday and just take a look at what I said about that. And of course Juno is also in quincunx to Pluto as well, so there may be some kind of integration involved regarding communication in these aspects of control and revealing, really seeing things for what they are and regarding these certain aspects of partnership and having them being communicated, bringing them to light in some way, either even just to the forefront of the mind for ourselves in our own contractual relationships or business partnerships or whatever, twin flame relationships, or in terms of like business relationships, possibly being communicated fully outwardly. But the things that need some kind of integration in order to move forward, in order to be, ended so that we can move forward as well. Since we are dealing with this mutable and then moving into a cardinal energy. Okay. So it's kind of, like I said, we're moving into a new space. We're going to start to move forward kind of in a new direction. But we've kind of had these endings and beginnings, and that's kind of like where we're kind of stuck here. So it may feel a bit intense as well, but I feel like it's going to end up being a positive intensity. There's positive aspects with this Mercury to this Mars, Black Moon Lilith, and this Chiron stuff, but it's going to deal a lot with our wounds where we felt outcast, and where we maybe need to nurture ourselves and focus into a new direction, really moving forward and integrate these aspects of power and control that we may have felt in the past that are no longer serving us, and really truly seeing it for what it is, integrating that, and moving on and forward into a new direction. We've already started to see some of the revelations coming up, and now we really need to move forward into a more nurturing, more comfortable direction, and not the bullshit that we've had to deal with in the past. Okay, so kind of powerful solstice, but let's move on to the 22nd. So on this day, we're going to have the exacting of the Mars trine Chiron, with kind of what I mentioned with that as well. So again, this is unconditional love and taking action and defending ourselves and our wound. This is unconditional love for the wound that we have. Defending where we may have been hurt in our individuality, right? This is very masculine energy, but it's a positive masculine. We're dealing with our heart space. This is like a love warrior type of energy, right? With this trine here, especially in terms of where we've been wounded and where we may have felt outcast in a lot of ways. So that may be something that's kind of coming up. Mercury is semi-sextile exact to Uranus. So there may be certain aspects, flashes of inspiration that can help us to move forward through this as well. Also recognizing aspects of individuality and your self-worth as well, involving that Uranus and Taurus here. Your self-worth in terms of your weirdness and your uniqueness. And that the individual wound that you may have experienced possibly was due to a lack of unconditional love, and to really fight for that for yourself and for others as well. You're unconditional loving yourself and who you are in that sense. So yeah. So we are having Juno also ingress into Cancer as well. So are going to see, again, more cardinal energy movement forward into a more nurturing, feminine nurturing space regarding these relationships and partnerships, and through the integration of these aspects of control that we are now seeing. So we're seeing it for what it is, and it needs to be integrated. So we're thinking like, oh, I'm going to have this comfortable relationship, or oh, no, there's this power and control needing to control. Oh, but we need to have, it's like, no, it's seeing this for what it is, recognizing it and trying to change it to a better foundational structure, and learning to move forward in a more nurturing type of space, having more nurturing aspects of control, nurturing rules, instead of this what's been happening in the past, right? Moving into a new space, cardinal energy, we're moving forward, we're moving on. All right, so that is Thursday. Kind of all I want to touch on for that. Let us move to Friday the 23rd. I know I haven't really been touching on the moon too much here. Moon moves into Virgo this day. It's been kind of moving over all of this, Cancer, Leo type of energy. I want to focus more on the major aspects. Like I said, I'm tired this week. I just want to get through the major stuff. There's kind of a lot going on There has been kind of a lot going on, a lot being revealed. We kind of need to focus on that more of those chill vibes, Neptune and Pisces, and the aspects that it was been making here. But I think we're kind of realizing that. And with Saturn retrograde now, things are going to kind of slow down in maybe the career sense in a way. So just kind of, especially in Pisces, you want to take the time to chill as well and dissolve some of those rules, aspects of control, and kind of realize, people might not be taking that anymore, especially in terms of their jobs and their career. It's like if you're not recognizing the work that people are putting in or the efforts that they're doing and giving them their time to relax, because Pisces 12th house, that can be mental health issues as well. I mean, you're just not only fucking yourself over, but you're fucking them over. You're just being an asshole boss and a douchebag of a company if you're not taking that into consideration. Or a douchebag of religion or whatever aspect, type of control, media company, whatever that's doing. You know what I mean? Like I said, this stuff is going to come out. I'm going to say. And with the moon in Virgo here, Virgo representing, the workers, the people, it's kind of interesting that I've said that. It's kind of a balancing of this out. There could be some emotional stuff coming out here Friday, especially regarding the balance of those kinds of things, or health in terms of career and restriction and work and finding balance between your day-to-day life and getting rest, and realizing maybe some subconscious things that we have been doing, and in terms of that, and finding resolution for it. Didn't talk about a real moon all week until now. I guess that's the message that maybe needed to come out. On this day, though, on Friday, we're going to have the sun quintile to Chiron. So it could be nurturing these wounds of self, but this quintile is put behind the scenes. There's work being put in behind the scenes again, and that could have to do with that opposition as well, of trying to find balance in some way, but there could be some kind of influence coming through, either from a higher realm, higher density, higher dimension type of thing, coming in to either help us, or there's a revealing of that's coming through regarding this wounding that's going to help us to move forward, because Aries and Cancer are both cardinal signs. So we're moving forward into a more nurturing space, possibly regarding these wounds to individuality, where we may have been hurt taking action before in the past, but where we need to kind of take action on now in terms of healing these parts of ourselves. Also on this day as well, we have Mercury in semi-square to Jupiter. Interesting. So there may be like an expansion of communication, especially even regarding our aspects of worth, self-worth. Right? Jupiter is a very abundant planet. It wants to expand in terms of positivity. And the positive aspects of Taurus is knowing your own fucking worth, knowing that you are worthy, and standing in that and being stubborn in that, right? And not budging on that. And this could help in terms of, what are we communicating? What are we thinking about ourselves as well? Right? What are we thinking on and focusing on in our lives? We should be focusing on abundance, the worth, the abundance that we already have around us, and our own self-worth, and realizing that in moving forward, and maybe even communicating that more, or wanting that communication more. There could be a frustration here because maybe we're not getting that communication, that positive communication regarding the worth that we actually deserve. And we maybe end up being frustrated with that because this semi-square pushes for something to be resolved, right? It's pushing for action, so it's causing this communication, but it's wanting to push for a resolution to move forward in some way. And even though these two signs are right next to each other, they may not really, it's a minor aspect. They're not really used to aspecting in this sense. They can't even really see each other, but it involves some kind of integration, possibly in the mind. You need to think and realize that you are more worthy than maybe you even understand for yourself. And then maybe we need to communicate more of that between ourselves and with each other in our own local environment, in our world, in our space. All right, Sun here is also going to be, yeah, like I said, Sun quintile to Chiron. I did touch on that already. Sun is also going to be aspecting the nodes, so we're going to be sextiling the north node, trining the south node. So we're heading into the end of June, so we've got less than a month left before the nodes shift into Aries and Libra. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have Pluto still squaring them, but I'm going to talk more about that when we head into that time. I don't want to waste the time now to do it. Yeah, but we're heading into this space. We're at this 1 degree. So we may feel the intensity start to peak more as we head into this closer towards this shift of stuff coming up from this past type energy. But it's positive. We have the sun here in Cancer. We're wanting to move forward in a more emotionally nurturing direction. And Cancer and Taurus here, they get along. They're both nurturing signs, just in different ways. Cancer is the mother energy, more emotionally nurturing. Taurus is more physically nurturing in terms of like actual physical growth, knowing the worth physically of something. Right? So this is about nurturing emotionally and your worth forward into this new space and this new direction. And with this trine here, we're moving forward, but still ditching what we need to get rid of from the past, right? We're moving forward and maybe taking with us what we need to from the past, but with Scorpio here, there's an investment maybe that we have made in the past, or revelations that have come up to the surface that allow us to kind of transform and to maybe move forward in a new positive way. Because this is a positive aspect. So we're definitely, with this cardinal energy, we're moving forward into new space, and it's being nurtured into a new direction, right? And we're no longer being stuck in Scorpio hell and moving forward into Taurus heaven. And I'm not saying anything bad about Scorpios. I actually love Scorpios. A lot of people hate Scorpios because, well, they hate Scorpios, but really what they're hating is their own shadow. Because Scorpio energy reveals the shadow side of ourselves. It reveals the darkness. It reveals things that we don't want to see, that we've pushed away. Scorpio is an extremely intimate sign and wants to connect on all levels, including seeing through all the bullshit, seeing through the darkness, seeing through everything. But in doing so, people often get, caught off guard by a Scorpio, or especially if you have like certain aspects of like Pluto of a partner aspecting personal planets of another. That Pluto person can see through the bullshit of that other partner as well, right? Or depending on what those aspects are, there could be an intensity involved in that. And people don't like that intensity because they don't want to face it. They don't want to face their own shadow. That's why they're scared of Scorpio. They're not actually scared of Scorpio. They're scared of their own shadow. They're scared of themselves. They're scared of what the Scorpio energy brings up within them, right? So Scorpios are actually extremely powerful and amazing people. And they're not really given the credit that they actually deserve. Because they're actually willing to face a lot more darkness than what most people realize that they are. And they're extremely strong. You have to remember, in traditional astrology, Mars also ruled Scorpio. So they're a warrior on deep levels in their own right, too. Right? It's also that feminine warrior energy. All right, so I think that's what else we got for Friday. Venus is semi-square to Juno. Juno now in Cancer, Venus in Leo. Again, this is like, we're fixating on our heart space here in our relationships. And now with Juno in Cancer, we want to move forward into a more comfortable, more emotionally nurturing kind of direction. And if we're not getting that, it ain't going to work. In any kind of partnership, right? We want to be more, this is definitely more heart space energy, even with Cancer. Cancer is in the feels, it's in the emotional space. So there's a push here, especially in our relationships. Like if that's not happening at work, in our relationships, dealing with money, like and with our material things, if we're not feeling comfortable in those areas, in those spaces, then we need to move forward into someplace that is going to make us feel comfortable, that's going to make us, center stage in our own life, but also in our own heart, in our own being, bringing out that aspect of love energy that's coming out within that, right? So this is pushing more towards love aspects between our partnerships and our relationships. and bringing that out and having that emotional nurturing that we want to go along with it. There could be a frustration happening here regarding that, but it's a push for a resolution in order to help us to move forward into that direction. And this may be somewhat unseen because when you have planets and signs next to each other, it's kind of like a quincunx where they can't really see each other, but this may involve some kind of integration or realization in order to step forward into this more fixed energy of being into your heart space. What else we got going on? We've got Mars in quintile to the south node as well. So yeah, there's, again, but especially still conjunct to Black Moon Lilith, there could be some secrets of the past that need to be brought to the light in an unconditional love sense, but I almost want to say, like, not defended against, but defended or fought in some way. But this is like, again, that love warrior type of energy, right? So there's this love warrior type of energy in bringing this stuff up to the surface, but it's something that's either has existed behind the scenes or somebody's put in the work behind the scenes in some way that is coming up to the surface and being brought to the light in some way, taking action on in some way, or we're putting in the work to do so, or there's a higher dimensional something coming through to help us in this sense to put in the work and to realize these things and know where we need to take action from our heart space in doing so in that sense. Or revealing something behind the scenes in some sense, in some way. And we've also got Pluto here. Yeah, biquintile Mercury. So again, there could be things that come up behind the scenes, more behind the scenes type of energy that gets revealed, or it comes up in a sense, or there's something being put to work behind the scenes or coming through from a higher dimensional space that is breaking down these old structures and communicated in some way, coming through in our mind in some way. Again, this could be a creative energy and pushing towards some kind of communication regarding revealing something in terms of aspects of control structures regarding that. But this is behind this, there's something behind the scenes that's coming through in some way, or will be revealed in some way, possibly, here on Friday. All right, that's kind of all I really want to touch on for that. Let's move on to Saturday. And I don't really think I have much for Saturday at all. Take a look at what the moon's doing. Trining Uranus. Could be a feeling of emotional rebellion energy regarding our own self-worth and things. Again, other stuff that I've spoken about on Friday. Could be still having an effect, but it's going to be positive. I think a lot of the revelations and the new directions that we're moving forward in going to be positive, but Virgo is a mutable sign and does deal with like our day-to-day schedule, worker kind of stuff that is happening. So there could be a rebellious aspect or something just coming out of nowhere to light in some way regarding money, our own worth in some sense. This could be dealing with subconscious things as well. So it's something to note. Yeah, that looks to basically be all I have for this week. Let's just pull up our main screen here. So thank you to all who have watched this. Again, if you want to see more, subscribe button is below. If you want to, engage with this to help in any way, just take a look, comment, like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, then dislike it. But yeah, definitely comment and let me know what you think. Any feedback is greatly appreciated and any engagement is greatly appreciated. Anything regarding any of my socials and stuff or any other ways to contact me is all in the description below. Yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. Have a great week. Enjoy and take care always. Bye for now.